So I truly believe that if you've been stuck in a fitness and nutrition journey, in other words, you've been on a million different plans, keto, Atkins, South Beach, low tide, high tide, tidal wave, you've been on them all. You've hired the coaches, you've hired the trainers, you've worked with pretty much everyone, you've done everything, right? You've gone out running, sprinting, biking, and no matter what you do, the weight doesn't come off. And you're starting to get frustrated because you're probably thinking, well, maybe this is just not for me. Maybe I'm just big bone. Maybe I'm from the Midwest and this is how God made me and I'm just gonna have to deal with it. I'm here to tell you otherwise. I'm here to tell you that I have heard all the excuses, all of the myths, and all the things that really hold people back from making fitness and nutrition a sustainable lifestyle. I come from a family of very obese people. My mother was obese, my sister is obese, my nephew is obese, and yet you wonder, how did you make it out? Well, that's what I'm here to talk about today. I'm here to talk about the three main questions that I get asked as a fitness and nutrition coach the most, right? And probably most of the things that people bring to me, I kindly and tactfully have to refute because they just don't make any sense at all. And so I believe that we perish for lack of knowledge. And so today, hopefully, I want to bestow a little bit of that knowledge that I have acquired through 23 years of grinding day and night on the floor of a gym and having to hear my clients struggle and having empathy and sympathy for them because I see how they struggle, right? I see how hard a lot of them would come in day after day after day, work out hard, show up every day, not cancel, and yet no results. And so those three main questions are basically, what's the best form of exercise, JT? Number two is, do I have to stay on a restrictive diet if I want to make any kind of progress with my fitness journey? What's the best kind of cardio to do? So I want to address the first question, which is, what's the best form of exercise? Well, I'm here to say that the best form of exercise is the one you're going to do every day or every other day. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about every day and every other day and what that actually means. But before I go there, I believe that your brain rewards whatever you like doing, right? If you have to fight and kick and force yourself to get to a workout every single day, most likely you're not gonna make a lifestyle out of it. It's just not gonna happen. You'll do it for 2 or 3 months, but then you'll fall off. So you have to find something that you enjoy doing so that the brain rewards that habit and you continue to do it more and more. So number one, you have to find something that you enjoy doing. Number two, inside of that question, what's the best form of exercise, is there are three main avenues that I talk about because this is my expertise and it's sort of the lifting weights part, but that doesn't mean that's all you have to do. Maybe you enjoy Pilates or yoga or any kind of physical movement I'm an advocate for, but I'm gonna talk about my realm, which is lifting weights. And so there are three variables that I really, really enjoy. So number one, high intensity interval training. I'm biased about that because I started gyms in Tampa that were all about circuit training. That's all we did there. And the reason I enjoyed circuit training so much was because of its efficiency. You're working compound muscle groups. It's very dynamic. You're never sitting around. You see some guys, you go to the gym, you see some guys on the phone on there for 2-3 minutes before they get to their next set. It's like, wow, you're getting more of a thumb workout than anything else, right? And so I love high intensity workouts because high intensity workouts means that you're active for 35 seconds, you're breaking for 35 seconds, and you're just constantly going. Next thing you know, 50, 60 minutes have gone by and you've been going hard and you're burning a ton of calories, you feel good, you get all those endorphins going. High intensity interval training, or better known as HIIT, is an amazing, amazing way to get your exercise in and to truly get in shape quickly. Of course, it's not for everyone. So then the next modality is progressive overload. This is what I recommend to people that are looking to actually get serious and put muscle on. Not that HIIT training isn't serious, but progressive overload basically says you're upping your weights every single time. So maybe you start off with a bench press and you're using dumbbells and you start off with 50 pounds. On your next set, you're going up to 55 or 60. Progressive overload. You're stressing that muscle group in order for that muscle group to grow. So progressive overload is a very serious way to put muscle on if that's what you're looking to do. Maybe you're not so much about the aesthetics, but you just want to get strong, right? You're just like, I just want to lift the car, right? If my car breaks down, I want to be able to pick it up and take it home with me. then if that's the case, powerlifting is the way to go. Now, once again, powerlifting is not for everyone, and a lot of people don't like it because powerlifting doesn't really focus on aesthetics, meaning the way you look. It's more interested in strength, right? In building strength. And to a lot of people, that's super important, and I think it's healthy to stay strong, especially as we age. So I talked about modalities of working out, high intensity interval training, progressive overload, and powerlifting. The next question I get is, Coach, how do I stay on a diet that is sustainable for me? Do I always have to be on a restrictive diet? And the answer to that is no. I've made basically an entire career out of teaching people how to make nutrition sustainable and realistic, because the vast majority of diets out there, the conventional diets, are very restrictive and not sustainable. You probably know what I'm talking about. All the different conventional diets out there are great sprint strategies, but for the long term, they just don't really work, right? And so I'm not a big fan of the conventional approach because there's no sustainability built into it, and they make you hungry, and no one likes to be hungry. When you're hungry, you lose your mind. When you lose your mind, even if you're doing well and you're looking great, you're gonna drop it and go back to your normal settings because no one likes to be in pain for too long. I truly believe that whatever we suppress comes out tenfold. Whatever you hold back, it's gonna come out tenfold. So if you're forcing yourself consistently and restricting yourself consistently, sooner than later, you will break down and you'll end up eating the things that you shouldn't eat. And this, of course, leads me to the EYB nutrition plan, the Empty Your Bucket nutrition plan, which is the plan that we created. So I want to talk to you about 3 phases that we have inside of our plan: reset, reboot, and excel. These 3 systematic phases are very, very intentional so that you go through a process of ketosis. Now, when we hear the word keto, we automatically think of a diet, and it's not. It's actually a metabolic shift. It's something that happens metabolically to us. If we don't consume enough carbohydrates, or we deplete carbohydrates, then we go into ketosis. And so our body builds ketones. If we don't have sufficient fuel, and then it replaces that, you go into that fat adaptation, and your body starts utilizing fat as a source of fuel, which is really, really good for the body. But I don't believe that we should stay there forever. Plus, most ketogenic diets are very unhealthy because people take out all the bad stuff, right? All the bad stuff that we're bringing in. They start bringing in fats, but they start bringing in all kinds of fats, saturated fats, and things that you don't really want to put in your body, especially long term. So I think the whole idea behind keto is sort of our phase 1. So think of our reset phase as a flexible keto diet. It's about 6 to 8 weeks. We make some big shifts there. We see some big leaps and bounds. People will lose anywhere. We've had people lose 25, 30 pounds in 6 weeks without being hungry and still having their energy levels up on this particular phase. But of course, because I'm not a fan of restricting and having to do extreme things, we have a phase 2. This phase 2 is what we call reboot. And reboot is a carb cycling phase that allows you to slowly but surely, progressively reincorporate the things that we took out initially, because we don't believe in demonizing food groups. So we bring these back in with the idea that we can utilize them as fuel, and we're flexing, right, from that sort of keto phase into more of a flexibility, which is really, really great. Most people's bodies respond really, really well to this phase. And then, of course, our phase 3, which is an Excel, is a maintenance phase. And here, something really interesting happens. If you've heard of the term intuitive eating, right? Intuitive eating is the idea that you should listen to your body if you're hungry. The problem is, most of us haven't trained our hunger cues. So we don't know if we are physically hungry or we're emotionally hungry. Most of us, especially the 21st century man, I believe, is never physically hungry. I know you probably disagree with that. But what I'm trying to say here is that most of us are pretty well nourished. Some of us and most of us are pretty overnourished. So the idea is that when you go through phase 1, you go through phase 2, you train your palate and your brain's reward pathways so that now you understand the difference between physical hunger and emotional hunger. When you're able to do that, now you can ask yourself the question, I wonder if I need an extra carb, or I wonder if I need an extra fat, or I wonder if I need an extra protein. But you need to train your palate and your brain's reward pathways in order to be able to do that. And that's why our systematic approach of phase 1, 2, and 3 is so incredibly effective. I get excited about it. I've been doing it forever. But I'm telling you right now, I'm biased because I believe it's the most sustainable nutrition approach out there right now. More people need to learn about this. So that's my question number 2. Question number 3 is, and this is one that comes up, often. Coach, what's the best form of cardio? And man, I have been driving down the street. I live in Florida at about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I see a guy in a plastic jumpsuit, sweating bullets, running down the side of the street. And I just want to grab the guy by the neck, bring him into my air-conditioned car, drive him to the first McDonald's, and give him a Slurpee or something, because I feel bad. I get the intent. I get the sentiment that he's trying to go out there and burn calories and do something positive, but we want to work smarter and not harder. What that person that you're seeing on the side of the road running in the middle of the day is actually going to do is dehydrate their body. And what's going to happen is, because they're dehydrated, their body gets stressed. When we get stressed, we secrete cortisol. Cortisol is a stress response hormone. And guess what? What he's actually trying to do, or she's trying to do by going out there and exercising, which is losing weight, is actually counterproductive. So whether it's the daytime or the nighttime, I don't believe that jogging is the most sustainable way to lose weight. Can you lose weight that way? 100%. Calories in, calories out is a thing. It's more complex than that, but it is true that if you burn more calories than you bring in, you will lose weight. The challenge with jogging and sprinting, you're most likely at some point your knees are going to give out, you're going to have an injury. If you're a female, you may get pregnant, you may have to stop running. And so when that caloric output stops, guess what? Because you haven't trained the number one thing, which is nutrition, that weight comes right back on. So I'm not a big fan of running or sprinting for cardio. Same thing with swimming. Swimming I like because it's very low impact. It's great. It's a great cardiovascular sport, exercise. But the truth of the matter is that swimming is going to make you so hungry. You're going to go back home and you're going to want to take out a small village. And what we want to do once again is work smarter, not harder. So once again, the vehicle it's utilizing to help you lose weight is caloric output. And once again, for most people, that's not very sustainable long term. So then you say, well, JT, what do I do then if I'm truly looking to incorporate cardio for weight loss, from a weight loss perspective? And the answer to that is slow burn cardio. By the way, it's probably one of the most tedious things because it requires you walking at a steady pace where you can sustain a conversation without being out of breath. And it is one of the most effective tools to decrease body fat percentages and lose unwanted weight in record time, hands down. It blows every single one of the cardio that I just mentioned away by a lot. It's sustainable because it's low impact. You can do it every single day. You can't necessarily run every single day. You can, but your body's gonna break down pretty quickly. Walking, you can do every day. Very sustainable. It brings so much to you because you actually have the time to be introspective. You can walk, you can think, you can pray, you can listen to music, you can think about your day. It's one of the most amazing ways to start the day. And on top of that, from a physiological standpoint, it is one of the best ways to edify your immune system. Your cognitive health will increase tremendously, meaning you will have more retention, more mental acuity. You're going to be able to sleep better because you will start breathing from your diaphragm. Most of us are shallow breathers because we haven't trained our breathing. Walking teaches us how to do that. Because since we're not necessarily out of breath, we have a tendency when we're not out of breath to actually breathe correctly, which is inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth versus all the other high cardiovascular activities where most of you guys actually end up doing a lot of mouth breathing, which is not healthy and not productive. So I want to leave it at that. Those are the three main questions, and hopefully I answered a lot of the themes and myths that you have about fitness. And to sum it all up, if you can actually find an exercise that you enjoy doing that you're going to do every day or every other day, and you find a nutrition plan that actually is sustainable, and you find a way to do cardio that will allow you to consistently show up and it's very low impact, you're going to make fitness and proper nutrition a sustainable lifestyle. And all of this yo-yo dieting and all these things that you were doing before, you'll look back and think, why didn't I do this before? Guys, my name is JT Tapias with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan, and I hope that you put these things to action. If not, we just wasted a whole bunch of time, and I hope that doesn't happen. If we're not family yet, you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so we can stay connected. And if you enjoyed this video, you're absolutely going to love this one here. I'll talk to you guys soon. Ciao, ciao.